Good morning around the Diamond family. Welcome back for another amazing episode of ATD. Grand Slam Sam, Baseball Bill here. Back to talk all things baseball. We got some interesting topics to talk about this morning. We're not
Mhm.
going to waste too much time. We're going to jump right in, but we're going to start this off as we always do. Baseball Bill, how are you doing on this beautiful Saturday?
I'm live from Phoenix, Arizona. We just got here last night. We watched a game. We're going to have a brand ambassador's breakfast this morning, and then we're taking off. We're heading off back home. So little 5 hour drive doesn't hurt anybody. 6 hour drive, whatever, and off we go.
There you go. It's always a beautiful thing. So, as we start off our topics of conversation this morning, we've been looking at the divisions closely over the last couple of weeks to talk about what's going to be the toughest moving in. A lot of Bill and I have gone back and forth on this, but we've come to an agreement. And as we head into the All-Star break, we looked at these divisions and then looked and saw that the Central and the West in the National League were the possibly two toughest divisions you could be in right now as a team moving towards the All-Star break. Bill, what is it about these two divisions that makes it so tough to play in right now?
Uh, I would agree with you that I would agree with you on the West. I would say the East is a tougher division, but the Central is tough in the sense that all five teams have a shot. And this year we had said, I had said earlier that that division could be won by 85 games and that who knew who was going to win it. I liked Cincinnati or Pittsburgh, but it didn't mean anything. That division is tough because everybody has a shot. The other division's tough because you have at least one powerhouse in there that's kind of running away right now, but it doesn't mean anything because the three teams that are behind them still much have a shot to win the division. So the Padres, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks all have a shot. Obviously, the Dodgers they have a lead right now, but that nothing's comfortable. It's June. If they had a 7 game lead in September, I would be sitting back a little bit, but it's June.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And when you look at the years past and like what the Dodgers have done, because the Dodgers have been the powerhouse on the West for, you know, minus 2021, the top of the division for almost every year for the last 5 to 7 years. Again, minus 2021. Um, why do you think now it's the Dodgers haven't had such a big lead in the division in the West as they have in years past? What is it that's changed?
injuries, injuries right now. We're and we're injury. It's always going to come down to injuries and how you play the game. To me, you play the game playing small ball, right? The Dodgers have a ton of good talent. The problem that they're doing is and this is the Yankees too. Everybody's trying to hit the 5 run home run. And so the other night, the Dodgers are down 3-1. They've got first and second and nobody out. Mookie Betts is up and he strikes out. And then Shohei strikes out. And then Freddie grounds out. It ends the threat. And they end up losing that game 3-2. Now, I'm sorry, 3-1. Now, if you bunt Mookie, right? Maybe he beats it out, maybe he doesn't. I'm sorry, it was first and third. I'm sorry, it was first and third. If you bunt Mookie, you score a run, right? And now you have a runner in scoring position with 2 outs for Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman. Well, let's see what happens, right? And you have to play and pitch the game a lot differently at that point. But instead, they were swinging for the fence, and two batters struck out, and one batter grounded out, and you got nothing. You end up losing 3-1. So
Now,
that's
oh, I had a real quick question on Mookie. I was listening to something that Dodger fans were very worried keeping Mookie at short.
mm,
What are your thoughts on Mookie staying at short long term, or do you see the Dodgers tr- possibly trading for someone or pulling up a young guy now whose more natural position is short and putting Mookie back in right.
An embarrassment of riches is what it really is. For the Dodgers, it's an embarrassment of riches. Because if you move Mookie, I don't like Mookie at short. I think he's learning how to play the shortstop position, but he's a natural second baseman. That's what he came up into the show as. The problem was the Red Sox at the time had Dustin Pedroia, so there was no way that he was going to play second, so they moved him to right field. And he became a very talented and very able right fielder. I like him at second or right field. So here's the problem that you end up running with. Let's say you do bring somebody up or trade. I mean, rumors are flying about Bo Bichette. So let's just say the Dodgers got Bo Bichette. He's a natural shortstop. You get Max Muncy off the IL in like a week, right? But you have Kevin Biggio playing third. Well, now Mookie goes to second. Where does Max Muncy go? Oh wait, no, Mookie's going to go to right. Okay, well, Jason Hayward's kind of killing the ball lately, so now Jason gets benched for being good because Max is going to play second base. It's kind of an embarrassment of riches. I don't know that I'd really make a lot of moves. I would just, and it drives me crazy that a lot of these guys are playing out of position, but it is what it is. A lot of teams right now are kind of piecemealing things together. Heck, the Giants are doing the same thing,
Hmm?
right?
Yeah, I'm
And
not. I'm not. You're preaching to a choir. Believe me, the Giants have been known for piecemealing teams together. Look at 2010. That's all I gotta say. You look at 2010 when they won the World Series. That was a band of misfits that had no reason playing on the same field together. None. Absolutely none. There was no reason that those 25 or 28 players should have been on the same team. Goose egg. And I was just curious what your perspective was on this.
yeah,
Because I
yeah.
know it has been a topic of the Dodgers conversation from what I've heard, because and I agree with you completely. You're kind of in this damned if you do, damned if you don't state with Mookie. In short, it's almost the kind of thing where you're like, we kind of just have to deal with it for the year, and then let things play out in the off season when free agents go and things like that, and they can have more freedom to move him back.
Right, right. 100%. 100%.
Um, now, now you had mentioned the National League East, and I want to touch on that real quick. When you look at the National League East, the closest team to the Phillies is the Braves, and they're 9 games out. After that, you have the Nationals, who are 14, the Mets, who are 15 and a half, and the Marlins, who will see you next year. So, what is it about that division that you feel makes them tougher than the two divisions we have on screen?
It's a perception thing. So that's a great question. It's a perception thing, Sam. So you use the word toughest, right? So the toughest division is going to be the division that is led by a powerhouse, in my mind. So if you're going to say toughest division, I'm going to say, okay, the National League East, because Philly is just hitting on all cylinders. Now they lost 2 out of 3 in in Boston, and they lost last night. But that being said, that doesn't matter. The Philadelphia Phillies are probably going to win 100 games this season. The Braves, in order for the Braves to keep up, they are going to have to win 90 plus games without Stash and without Ronald Acuna. So to me, that's an incredibly tough division. See, in the National League West, you've got the Dodgers that aren't now. If the Dodgers are playing it, there's 5 or 6 games that the Dodgers have actually outplayed themselves in. So let's assume for a second and lost. Let's assume for a second the Dodgers have 5 more wins than they do right now. Then I would be saying the same thing about that side. But right now, the Padres are there. You guys are there. The Diamondbacks are starting to hit on all cylinders. So that's an incredibly tough division because it's manageable. Whereas if
Yeah.
you look at the East, that's not manageable. Unless Philly has an incredibly terrible second half, the likes of something that you and I have never seen in our lifetime, The Philadelphia Phillies are going to make the playoffs.
I mean, I think it was. Yeah, I agree with you. Well, I'll then. I'm gonna take your perspective on toughest, and I'm gonna put you on the hot seat real
Go ahead.
quick. Who's the tougher division, the National League East or the American League East?
American League East.
Explain.
American League East. Because you have two teams. So you just mentioned the Braves. Now, if you would have asked me that in April before Stash went down and before Ronald Acuna went down, I would have said the National League East because you had those two teams that are just lights freaking out. But in this case, yes, you have the Bronx Bombers, but look at what Baltimore's doing. They're putting together strings of wins, and Baltimore is staying. The Yankees have the best record in baseball, and Baltimore's what, 2.5 back. So yeah, I would say if that were the case, I would say the National League. I'm sorry, the American League East.
Okay,
Now
that's fair.
Boston, though they're only playing 500 ball right now, do not sleep on Boston. They're pitching very, very well. So let's see how that plays itself out.
I agree with you, and I think toughest division might have been the wrong label for this
No,
topic of
no, no,
conversation.
no.
I think tightest division
Titus. Okay.
would have been the better word used when creating this topic of conversation. But it was a great, but having this open dialogue with a Giants fan and a Dodgers fan is what makes this conversation exciting. It's why we
And the
do that.
fact that we agreed.
Yeah, I mean it's a rarity. If you were to talk to us before the show, we are not agreeing on most things, but during the show, we can find agreement because
Listen,
we we
anytime you have a
we are
Giants
baseball
fan,
purists. That's
yeah,
who we
anytime you have a Giants fan and a 2024 world champion Los Angeles Dodgers fan all talking to each other and agreeing, it's pretty awesome.
At this point, if we were going on records alone, the Dodgers would not be winning the World Series. Let us just put that into
Preach.
perspective. And I appreciate you agreeing with me. Moving on, let's talk about the American League. Bill, why don't you take me through the AL?
Okay. So the New York Yankees, 50 wins, 7-3 in their last 10 games. But look at this. Baltimore is staying put. They're a couple games back, right? I mean, so you got what, one,
3.5 right now.
3.5 back. But look at everybody by them. 30, like, forget about it. 15 back, the Rays, Blue Jays. The Guardians are still a surprise, only because the Royals have had a rough week and a half. Royals are 4-6 in their last 10. They've had a rough week and a half. I am so sorry. Everybody, if you know a White Sox fan, if you see somebody on the street walking with a White Sox jersey, stop what you're doing, buy them a soda, and give them a big hug. They need it. They
Invite
need
him
it.
to a winning team.
Yes, I mean they need it. They are going to lose 110 plus games. Now the American League West is getting interesting because the Mariners are starting to kick it into high gear, but so are the Astros. Astros are 6-4 in their last 10. The Mariners, though they took 2 out of 3 from the 2024 World Champion Los Angeles Dodgers, the Mariners are not looking that awesome. And Angels, thanks for playing. We like you. You're a feel good story. But the A's are right on your tail. So what can I say? Anyways, Sam, what do you think about this division?
Looking at this real quickly from a high level, yeah, Yankees are running away with it, but I am not sleeping on the Orioles whatsoever. I think this is still the Orioles division to win. This is still the Orioles division to win and the Yankees to lose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
100%. I think the Orioles and the other thing I'll say about that division about the East real quick is that the Yankees haven't been as plagued by injuries as the Orioles have been in this first half. So
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
Orioles are going to start, I think, get some guys back that have been on IL, and that will be coming up. Coming back, I think that is going to change the game and put them back on that top spot. Um, the big guy that everyone is waiting to come back, their young rookie that finally made his appearance this year. I have a lot of speculation about him, and we'll talk about that in another episode. But I would be worried if I was Jackson Holiday with the way this team is playing and being brought back up this year. Because after the wait, he's still not doing it in the minors, and if he can't pick it up back in the minors, they're definitely not going to call him back up. Um, Looking at the Central, this is tight. I agree with you. I think this is still the Orioles division. I mean, the Royals division to win. I think while the Guardians have been playing really well at the end of when push comes to shove, I think the Royals will take it. And moving over to the West, I've been calling the Mariners number for the last 3 years. I've been saying it's their time. So I am so excited to see the Mariners finally kicking into high gear and doing what we said about a couple of weeks ago when we had Big Dave on. Taking the air out of the Astros, putting them, deflating them for right now, and ramping up this high velocity and wins. If the Mariners can keep doing it and keep pushing on that air out of the Astros lungs, we might not see the Astros in the postseason this year for the first time in 10 seasons.
Yeah, truth, truth.
Moving over to the National League, Phillies are running away with the National League East. We talked about it just a minute ago, but man, this team, this city is electric. They are all Phillies right now. Let me tell you, hottest tickets. These tickets to Phillies games are hotter than getting tickets to the Eras Tour. Let me tell you. Moving over to the Central, tough, tough, tough and tight race. This division is gonna be a dog fight till the very end. I I still think the Reds or the Pirates could come back in this division. I don't see it being the Cubs, but watch out for this Cardinals team because they have, for a team that started off last in the division at the end of April, they have come back and been on a tear in the last month and a half. So watch this Cardinals team because while they've got a lot of age on it, that age brings wisdom, meaning they know how to play long term. And going over to the West, Dodgers are still leading in that division. But as even the great baseball Bill has said, watch this division closely because you got three teams right behind that Dodger blue that are fighting and clawing their way up that board. So while the Dodgers may hold a current 7-game lead above the Padres and an 8.5 above the Giants, I see this staying super tight and a super tight race all the way through the end of the season. Bill, what are your thoughts?
Uh, couple surprises, and I'm going to surprise you a little bit here. Obviously, Phillies, yes. I mean, the Phillies are a hot ticket. They're a hot commodity. Phillies are hotter than cars in Camden, Jersey, right?
Those cars are usually burning down.
That or they're just hot because people borrowed somebody else's car without asking. Um, but
And then
well,
and then they burnt down. It's
there you go.
regardless, they burnt down.
There you go. The Central Division is going to be a dogfight, like Sam mentioned. The 2024 World Champion Los Angeles Dodgers need to kick it up into high gear. They're 5-5 now. A couple surprises that I'm going to mention here, Sam, and a couple things, couple predictions. The Top Fan Rivalry Sports Desk is ready to call. Since we're in that year where they talk about predictions and ready to call stuff. Um, the New York Metropolitans will be in third place by the time that we do this. We will not have a show next week, folks. Sam and I will both be traveling, but by the time we do this again, the New York Metropolitans will be in third place, nipping at the bud, at the tail feathers of the Braves. Okay, mark my words, Sam. Mark my words. I know you think the Mets
Luckily,
are going
this
to
is
match.
recorded. Luckily, this is recorded because when they're not in third place next week, I'm calling you out.
Go ahead. I'll bring a Mets fan on starting next or a week from.
Great. Bring on Mets Meg. I'd love to have this conversation with him.
Perfect. And then the Cubs. As surprising as this is, the Cubs are now in last place in this division. Do I think that they're going to stay in last place? Heavens, no. Heavens no. I don't think they're going to stay in last place. But couple things of noteworthy, right? Look at the Mets, 7-3 in their last 10. Look at the Reds, 8-2 in their last 10. And then you kind of look at the division, the Dodgers, Padres, Giants are 5-5. So all things considering, I mean, we're in the dog days of summer and it's exciting. Every time I get to hang out with Sam on Saturdays, it gets me up, it gets me excited.
Oh yeah. Looking at these stats real quick, don't need to touch too much on them. Um, Luis Arias was the smartest trade the Padres have made in the last year. I mean, kid has been on a tear on the plate. Jackson Profar right behind them with a 326 adding average. I mean, they are just lighting it up when it comes to hitting right now. And moving over to this RBI leaders, Arson Aaron Judge is leading the board with 63, with the supposed next coming of Barry Bonds, Jose Ramirez right behind him, with 62.
Still
Uh,
bitter, are we?
Looking at the pitching though, anything surprising you on the pitching side?
Yeah, yeah. So again, offense sells tickets, defense wins games, right? What team has two of the leaders in the wins column on it?
The most likely 2024 World Series New York Yankees.
No. Yes, the New York Yankees. No, we didn't say that right, but yeah. So Ranger tops his career best in wins in June, right? He's on fire right now. And then you've got Carlos Rendon and Luis Gil. The Yankees are pitching well. On the strikeout side, Tyler Glass now is mowing people down. But look at Dylan Cease. Look at Chris Sale. It's the resurgence of Chris Sale, everybody. He's got 9 wins. He's got 99 strikeouts. He's got a shot for 200 strikeouts this season, and he's got a shot for 20 wins. He plays for a team that scores a lot of runs, though, too. So congratulations, Chris. But he's throwing strikes and he's getting outs.
Do the Will the White Sox trade Garrett Crockett?
I hope not. I hope not. They need to build around a few people, and he's young.
That's fair. Looking at the stolen base count, slowing down a bit on the stolen bases. Not as big of a huge leap as we've seen in weeks past. But Bill, the one question I gotta ask: will we top 3,503 stolen bases this year?
No, no, we've slowed down enough. Now, if this were 3 weeks ago when we were seeing 200 stolen bases a week, I would have said sure. Dog days of summer, it's hot. People are, it's humid. People are sweating. It's no, I don't. Now, do I think, do I think that we've got, because we're coming midway to the, well, actually, oof. Ask me in 2 weeks. Ask me in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think?
I'm thinking we're gonna beat it, but not by a lot. I think we'll hit 3,600. So just like shy of an additional 100 over what we saw last year.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like the home run number. I think we're gonna blow this number out of the water. I'm
Oh yeah.
projecting 62, 6,300 home runs this year. But if I'm looking at this, if I'm saying we're gonna have similar numbers on the stolen base side, no. I don't think these numbers are gonna be blown out, but I think they'll be beaten.
Yeah.
I think both of these numbers will be beaten. I just think the home run count is gonna be demolished, where the stolen base count is just gonna be slightly one. But looking on this home run leaderboard, Aaron Judge had 4 home runs this week, bringing him up to leading the leaderboard with 25 home runs. Gunnar Henderson right behind them with 21. And then Azuna and Tucker, who Tucker isn't playing right now. And then the second coming of Barry Bonds, Jose Ramirez with 18. Um,
Bitter. Sam's
you
not
made
bitter.
you made a bold statement. You didn't. I'm not gonna say it was a bold statement because I think it's a fairly accurate statement. But what was your statement before the show regarding Aaron Judge?
Oh, yeah. So back in May, in mid-May, when he had 13 home runs, I had said to you and a number of people, I had said he'll have 32 home runs or better at the All-Star break. And some people thought I was crazy. They said, listen, that means he's got to hit 19 home runs before the All-Star break. It's just not going to happen. And now he's gone on this tear. I mean, he had started off slow. Now he's gone on this tear. He could hit 37 by the All-Star break. And we still have another, what, 20 games before the All-Star break? I mean, maybe he's at
Could
40. Who knows? I don't think he'll be at 40, but maybe he's at
could
40.
Aaron Judge break the home run single season record this year?
Not this year. Not this year.
I
I'm
think he'll
putting
break it. I just don't think he'll be this year.
Yeah, I'm putting the plus minus this year with Aaron Judge and home runs at 58.
That's fair. I would say that. I would say 58. I would say plus or minus 3.
Yeah.
Either way, I think is a fair assessment. You know,
Yeah,
60, either 55 or 61, somewhere in that range.
yeah, I'm putting 58 as the over under.
I agree with that. Injury report wise, a lot. This is, as Bill said, this is the dog days of summer. This is also the dog days of out for the season. This is when we're going to start seeing people out for long periods of time. We're not going to see short stints. We're going to see tears, big injuries, season long ones. This is the unfortunate time when we tend to really see it. Now, last year was different because we were getting used to this pitch clock and pitchers needing to adjust themselves. Now that they're adjusted, it's starting to dwindle down. But the biggest, Bill, what is the biggest injury on this report right now?
Probably John Means.
Okay.
Probably John
And
Means.
because of the way Baltimore's been playing and how close they are?
Yeah, yeah. Lucas Giolito never competed really with Boston this year, and he's got a 2-year deal over there. Congratulations, sit at home, collect your money. You are in the Max Scherzer Jacob deGrom club. Enjoy yourself. Um, Lance McCullers has been on and off the IL forever. People in Houston have no faith in him right now. Luis Garcia, he might be out for a longer period than just July 26th. I have it on good authority from the TopFanRivalry sports desk that the Astros have a buy 5, get 1 free on Tommy John surgeries. They are working on trying to get their free Tommy John surgery. And so we'll just see how that plays out. I mean, they announced 2 pitchers were getting Tommy John, so they had 1 last season. So I mean, they're more than halfway there on the buy 5, get 1 free.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, we had another big topic of conversation, and Bill was really passionate about it, so I wanted to make
Oh,
sure we got some
oh,
talking out
oh.
of it done. So there's this blocking the plate rule, and there's been a lot of speculation and discussion around it over the last month, especially from the from MLB analysts. Bill, give us a quick rundown of
Oh
how
no.
this
Oh
rule
no.
works.
We're gonna be here for 2-3 hours talking about this. No,
Well,
no,
we
no, no.
don't have 2 3 hours, so
So
in the allotted time we have left, let's start off real quick with just a basic rundown of how this rule works.
okay, so it stems from the Buster Posey incident several years ago where he got mulled over and was broke his leg and was out for a season and a half. Um, the ultimate
He
rule,
wasn't mulled over. He was run through. He was run through, tackled, and trampled.
well, sure, what you said. So here's the long and the short of this rule. Here is the long and the short of this rule. The player has to have a clear path to home plate. Period. The catcher has to give him that clear path. He has to have a clear way to the plate so that you avoid contact at home plate. Now, okay, I'll save my opinion for later, but that's the rule. Clear path.
Right. So the speculation with this is there are additional add-ons to this rule. Obviously, the catcher has to have control of the plate of the ball before they can move over to home plate and go. There's a lot of nuances to it.
Hmm.
I don't want to hold off on your opinion. I want to know. Give us your opinion on the
I'm
rule.
going to give it to you in 45 seconds because I know we're running short on time. You did a fantastic job putting the slideshow together. Look at Pete Alonso's face, everybody, on this one. Look at where the catcher's foot is. This play ended the game in New York City a couple of weeks ago. The Dodgers had a situation this week where the plate was blocked and it ended the game for them. Okay. Now it was a little different with the Dodgers because the catcher actually had the ball. But look, his left foot is on the plate. There is no clear path to that home plate. Okay. And so Pete Alonso coming in sees that and knows that he's got to come up with a funky Medina slide to use the 80s versions. My view is this: if a catcher is going to block the plate, run him over. It's only fair. Run him over. And I don't ever want to see anybody injured, but then play by the rules. Run him over. Okay. And so I saw it this week at Dodger Stadium. I saw that this was an ESPN game of the week, Sunday night game of the week that this ended. And I'll tell you, every New York fan that I talked to was ready to lynch every umpire that they could find. If you walked into a bar that night in Queens and you said that you were an umpire, you were probably going out in a body bag. It was not awesome.
Well,
What,
the
what,
umpires this season have been over
atrocious.
have been more atrocious than in years past. We never officially we never were didn't give this person the recognition that they deserve. But from around the diamond, and I am sure from Top Fan Rivalry, we want to thank Angel Hernandez for finally leaving baseball and getting out of the way of us being able to see actually good baseball games that he is umpiring. Because since he has left, the team, the committee that the team that he was on, the ref team that he was on, the umpiring squad, has been exponentially better. So, Angel, thank you for leaving baseball. We appreciate the 30 years of bad umping you've given us, and now we never have to deal with it again. Now
Oh,
we have to deal with other bad umpires.
oh no, no, no. No, 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 no. Angel Hernandez is a genius. He is an absolute genius. Okay. Sam, the next time you go to a baseball game, with the exception of the last name of Wendelstedt, right? CB Buckner or Angel Hernandez, I want you to tell me if you recognize any of the names of the umpires. Now, it's
I don't
supposed to be
care
that
to
way,
recognize them. They're better.
right? Exactly. So Angel Hernandez, people know him nationwide for making bad calls. You know what? If I'm Angel Hernandez, you know what I'm doing? I'm laughing myself to the bank. I've made a bunch of money as an umpiring person. I'm going to write a book about umpiring. Okay. And I'm going to sell probably 1 million copies of it. I'm going to make myself rich because
For
people
being
know
the
my
worst
name.
umpire in baseball history.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, look, if that was his goal, then it's a good goal. But now we need to get CB Buckner out because he has been making just as many bad calls as Angel Hernandez was. It's kind of like it's like Angel passed the torch and said, "Buckner, here you go, take
Here,
over."
here, here's my
It's
thing on the
terrible.
umpire. Here's my thing on the umpiring thing. Okay, it's real simple, Sam. In the military, you have a forced retirement age, right? Okay. Why not have that in Major League Baseball?
Bill, I mean, I agree with you, but I think this all stems from going back and ensuring that umpires are held as accountable as players are held
Oh,
accountable. If umps make a bad call, they should be fined.
mhm.
If umpires blatantly, I mean, look, there was an article that was released earlier this week that the MLB took action against an umpire for violating the league's gambling policy.
Yep.
What happened to him? A slap on the wrist, because that's all we heard. There was that they disciplined him. The words were he's been disciplined. But what was that discipline? What
Well, they're
was
not
the
going to release that because
exactly
they
exactly
want to
no,
keep that
no
quiet.
but a player has something similar who, while the player can impact the way a game is called, the umpire is more at fault for the way a game is called, because an umpire can change the entire course of a game in the blink of an eye. A player might miss a hit. Yeah, okay, anything like that can happen in any given game. But an umpire can call a ball a strike and ruin an entire game in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
But a guy like Pete Rose, who gambled on the game of baseball, is banned from sport and can no longer be in the Hall of Fame. That umpire should be kicked out of the league and never allowed to be an umpire in the league again. But he's been disciplined.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think it is a load of crock, and there needs to be some serious conversations had, because umpires can get away with anything, and every player is under a freaking microscope.
The difference though too, Sam, and I know we got to move on this, but the difference in this, Sam, is we have to remember one thing and one thing only. Okay. If you go into your neighborhood, forget your neighborhood, you go to a mall and you find 100 kids ages 6 to 12 that are any type of athlete, and you ask them how many of them want to play professional baseball. Because I know where you live, and you live in the mecca of some baseball territory. Out of those 100 kids, you're probably going to get 60 to 70 of them that say that they want to play Major League Baseball. Remember the
Yeah,
age group, 6 to 10, right?
yeah,
If
100%.
you if you ask those same 100 kids how many of them dreamed about being a Major League Baseball umpire, not one of them is going to say yes.
I would agree. Oh no, I 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. And
So,
look, I get it. They become the bad guys because, they make the calls, and they're the ones ejecting the players. But at the same point, if you have that much power, you need to be held accountable by the people that you report to more than the players. You do. I'm just, that's my opinion on it. Like, if you look at any business, like, just look at businesses in general. It's not, it's not the employees that are held as accountable as the managers are.
mhm,
But if something goes wrong, the employee is the one that faces the repercussions.
true,
The
true.
manager faces no repercussions. He gets a slap on the wrist. And to me, it's absurd. So that's all I'm going to say about that. My last question on this topic, real quick, before we go over your amazing podcast and in the league schedule: should blocking the plate be a reviewable play
Yes,
by the manager?
yes, yes. And it is. Technically, it is, but yes, it should be.
All I wanted to know, all I wanted to hear. But Bill, you put out another amazing podcast in the league
Oh,
schedule. Run us through it.
this one's fun. So Delilah, Dodger fan, second time on the podcast. Delaney, first time on the podcast. She was awesome. That was a great interview. Wednesday's episode, you people do not miss this. So here's how this plays out, Sam. It was Big Dave and Mikey Bleeds Blue. Well, obviously Big Dave hates the Rangers and isn't a big fan of the Dodgers.
Oh,
Obviously, Mikey hates the Giants and is not a big fan of the Astros. Well, the Astros are playing the Giants last week, and the Rangers are playing the Dodgers. So those two knuckleheads had to figure out how to agree on their common hatred. It was a
I
great
might
episode.
actually, I will actually be listening to that episode.
Yeah, it was a great episode.
Because I want to
Anthony,
know who Mikey ended up rooting for, the Giants or the Astros. Don't tell
Astros.
me. Let me listen. Bye.
Yeah, I'll tell you, his hatred for the Giants is real. Um,
Oh, I
but
know. I
you got to
know.
listen
He
to it.
loves
Yeah,
me. He
and
loves
then
me. Mikey loves me, but hates the Giants.
there you go. So Anthony's on Thursday, first time on the podcast. Lexi's a returning guest. As far as ITL is concerned, Megan's going to be on. We're going to finally announce the winner of something. Stephanie's going to be on. Harvey is actually going to play Would You Rather / start one, bench one, cut one. And then
Good.
Megan is going to be there. Now, I will tell you, if you're listening to this Saturday and you're in the Houston area, go down to Sugarland Space Cowboys. We have a booth down there tonight. Go check out the game. Use the discount code TopFan, and you get some discounts on your tickets. In addition to a discounted ticket. Megan is going to be in Arlington watching the Metropolitans play the Rangers this week.
It's
I'm going
unfortunate
to be,
to see some losses.
yeah, I'm going to be in Florida. I might be actually, so our street reporting team is kicking it up into high gear. You're going to see some street reporting action coming out. And Sam, just so that you know, you got an email about something today. What did the email say?
The email that I got today was extremely exciting. It is going to be something that I am personally going to be joining. It is the T-shirt club for Top Fan Rivalry. I'm actually looking for this email as we speak. Ah, here it is. The monthly T-shirt club has officially been released by TopFanRivalry.com. If you are a locker room member, it is $25 a month. If you are not a locker room member, it is $30 a month. But what you can do to take advantage of this awesome T-shirt club and get a new Top Fan Rivalry T-shirt on your doorstep every month
Every month.
is go to topfanrivalry.com, use the code ATD, sign up to be a locker room member. It will get you 10% off your total cost, and that cost after the deduction would be around, Bill,
22 bucks.
22 bucks. So for $22, you can be a Top Fan Rivalry locker room member for an entire
22.50.
year, around approximately $22 and change. Get
Yeah.
you your
So
1 year of access, and then you get an additional $5 off because you just became a locker room member on signing up for the T-shirt club.
yeah,
The total cost for both of those before the discount would have been $80. It is now $50. It is
yeah.
a $30 savings. It is incredible. If you are not signing up for this, you need to sign up. And remember, that code is ATD in all capital letters. It'll get you 10% off your subscription. And then once you're signed into the locker room, you can sign up for the monthly T-shirt club without having to re-enter that code, and it will get you $25 per month for the T-shirt club. Make sure you
Awesome.
are signing up because these are shirts you can only get at TopFanRivalry.com.
Only get them. And so, and Sam, I gotta lie, I'm not gonna lie to you. They're great shirts. I'm wearing one of them right now. The shirt that says Top Fans and Baseball. It looks like an American flag. It's amazing. Um,
The
I I saw the design, Sam, for next month's t-shirt. Oh, it is amazing. Amazing.
I cannot wait to get a quick glimpse of that. Hopefully, Bill will show it to me offline.
Yeah.
But right before we sign off, as we always do, any final words for the fans?
No, I'm good. Let's do it.
All right. As always, make sure you are checking out TopFanRivalry.com for new articles, podcasts, and merch dropped on the reg. Get to TopFanRivalry.com and sign up for the monthly T-shirt club as soon as you possibly can before this deal goes out the window. I want to thank you so much, as always, for joining ATD this week, and we will see you on the field in 2 weeks. Have a good weekend.